Here we go. This is always fun. I'm like, ooh, live stream. Let me see if I can find you over here, Hannah. Let's see. I can share it to my page so we can talk to everybody and bring everyone into the conversation.
Oh, I can hear a little bit of echo.
So we can talk to everybody and bring everyone into the conversation.
Oh, I can hear a little bit of there we go.
There, I know, I love it.
Mute
That's so
myself a
funny.
little bit.
No, I always love that. I'm like, I hear my own voice and I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
Ooh,
buddy.
good morning, everyone.
Hello. Good morning from the
Lot of
cold. Oh my gosh. So Hannah here, like while she's muted, so she actually got to go to the cutest little like preschool. Was it a play? Was it a music thing? Concert?
Christmas concerts. They were so cute. And she was a gingerbread man. She had like a little gingerbread they made and they sang something about gingerbread men, but they didn't really say anything out loud. It was like mouths moving and they're like so cute little 3-year-old standing there
I mean,
looking at the guys.
I love it. It's so cute. So cute. Tis the season, right? It's so fun. That is hilarious. I love it.
Yeah,
Well,
so fun.
so okay, so we're coming back, to our wealth chats.
Yeah.
And the other day we started them and we had our first one. It was so much fun. And then we continued to talk after that. And it's like every time I'm talking with you, Hannah, I'm like, okay, can we hit the record button? Like, we just need to be recording this. Like, there's just so many gems and there's so much going on right now. And so today, it's all about positioning. And we'll get
Mm.
into what that means. But the other day, and I don't know where you want to start, Hannah, if you have some, if thoughts popping into your head right now, but the other day we were talking and something that stuck out to me, which is where and mentally I hit the record button because I was like, okay, I think people should hear this. Um, you were telling me about, kind of your story and kind of running through just kind of your financial history, I guess, which was really interesting. We were both comparing notes here. And
Mm.
you said a phrase that I really liked. And I don't know if you want to talk more about it, but you started saying, I no longer had the privilege of being naive.
Oh, I was like, remind me what I said.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no, it rang a bell in my head because I was like, whoa, that like triggered me in a little bit, like in a good way. But
yeah,
I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about what that means in, I guess in the context of what we were talking about, because I think it's kind of an
yeah,
important conversation for people to hear.
yeah. I think that's actually a good place to start because
Yeah.
that, and yes, because it was a privilege to be naive, and yet that's not a great thing to be at. Ignorance is not bliss, right? Yeah, we've all heard that statement as well. Because I was sharing with you, like, my story. I was widowed suddenly at 32 years old, right? And I was, so saying like I didn't even think about the financial part of things because I was the mom. I was, I worked, I was a nurse, I was doing all the things. I was a mom, I was a caretaker. I did that part of it. My husband was the numbers guy. He was a CPA, so he was literally the numbers guy. So I left all of the finances and everything like that in his capable hands because why not? We were a team, right? And not that that was a bad thing. I did know a little bit of it. I mean, like we had done some things that in the years leading up to his death that actually positioned us to be okay afterwards because obviously we didn't know he was going to die, but like we did some things that are not necessarily, I would say, typical for someone in their early 30s, is that we looked into and got like our will done and we did things like that and like making sure we had life insurance, which why I don't know, except that I do know. I think, God was preparing us for something that was coming. Um, and but I was naive to all of those things. I mean, I knew of different things about wealth, but I didn't, it was not, it was like my role was to be mom, right? I didn't even think about any of that kind of stuff because that was all left on his hands. Well, in one afternoon, my life changed and I suddenly no longer had that privilege. I all of a sudden had to know all of these things, understand it, and lead in it for our family. On top of everything else that was happening. And that was very I mean, all around it was, life changing. Everything was just but very disconcerting. And like, I really had to do a lot of like introspection and learning and like, it shook my identity to the core, I think, a little bit. Right. And so since then, I've also been, worked with many, many, many women and a lot of women who have been widowed and things like that and suddenly. And, I often hear, which you may have hear this too in your circles, like women who are like, "Oh, I never think about that," and I still hear that, now. Um, my husband takes care of that. I don't even know where any of the the documents are and things like that, and I hear that now, and I'm just like, "Ooh," right? Because I like that's a scary thing, and I don't live in fear, but like there's something we said, like we should not be that naive about all the things. It's not that you have to run all of those things, because I do think there's such a beauty in having a team, a partner to do things with, right? Like, yeah, my husband was a CPA and it was his thing and he was good at the budget and all the stuff like that. But I also need to be a part of it and understand what was going on with our money, where it was going, and how it was being directed. Because all of a sudden I had a crash course in it on top of trying to traverse through grief and like take care of our 5 kids and all the things, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, that's where that phrase kind of came up, which it just it just kind of came because it was definitely a privilege, and I'm so grateful for that privilege I had. But it was not. I mean, I'm so grateful for the fact that I had that amazing partner. But I don't think being naive like that is a good thing for any woman to be, right? And so I do gently like to share that with women nowadays, because I'm like, you need at least need to have some kind of an idea, right?
Hmm.
Don't just be naive about it, because
Hmm.
none of us know. None of us know how much time we have or who's going to be there alongside of us in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much that you just said, Hannah, that I'm just like, oh my goodness. Oh gosh. Okay. Um, it's true. And so it's not meant to be a, you better learn this or else, like it's never meant in that spirit. A few things come up with that. Like it is a gentle reminder. It is a gentle, hey, you should know about your finances, you should know about your wealth. Like, you need to know about these things because, you are a creator as well as anyone. And so everyone needs to be aware of what their financial situation is and just kind of all the things in your life anyway, right? Like you should be aware. And I also love how you said, Hannah, that you don't have to do it alone. Like it's wonderful to have a partner and of course, or your team, of people, maybe you have, your accountant that you work with, your tax guy or whatever. Yeah. And then another thing, and it reminded me of my own story when I was naive as well, because I can even remember just as a young kid. So my dad's an accountant, CPA, awesome guy. Like he knows like all the ins and outs, of like
Numbers.
financial tax, all that of the numbers. He is our numbers guy.
Yep.
And it was so funny. I remember as, a young girl, like my dad was explaining, like compound interest or something, like he'd always give us little financial lessons and stuff. And I remember just kind of like, huh? Like, yeah. And he was like, well, Meg, don't worry. Someday when you're doing your taxes, you can just call your old dad and like, and there you go. And I was like, okay, dad. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And I kind of lived my life a little bit that way where I was like, it's okay. Like, I'll just call dad, or it's okay. I'll talk to my partner. So, I don't need to know. Like, and it's funny because it does get to a point where you're like, ooh, I do need to know.
Yeah.
And, like our situations are constantly changing. And so to be aware and to know like that is important. And again, you don't need to know all the little, all the little zeros, ones, whatever, like all the little bits and bytes, whatever. You don't have to know every little thing, but to be at least have an understanding and awareness of that. So,
Yeah. A generalized idea of where how the finances are in your family and whatnot, because it
mhm.
is, you're an entity, right? And you need to
Yeah.
know these things, the health of, right?
Hmm.
And again, not from a place of fear. It's just from being preparedness and positioned to know, so that if something should happen, and it doesn't have to be death, right? It could be an illness. It could be just like
Hmm.
things shifting. Like there's so many different things that could happen. It could
Hmm.
be deciding to split ways and go different ways. You need to know
Yeah.
what's going on with your finances and whatnot. And having that relationship with money, which is another thing that I teach a lot about, is part of like the, you know, I would say the energetics of wealth and whatnot, is knowing your money, having a relationship with it, understanding where it's going and what it's like, not again from a place of like scarcity and contraction and like being so like fearful about it, like being so grateful and so like, and I pay my bills, I'm just like, thank you, God, that I can pay these bills, right? When I know like I'm sending money out, I'm so grateful that I'm able to send money out, and like where I can resource and like how I can buy groceries and like Christmas presents. This is Christmas time, right? So being able to buy Christmas presents, and for me, birthdays, because I had 3 birthdays the week of Christmas with my kids, right? So like all these things, like thank you, God, for the provision and being able to take care of all these things. So doing it from a place of gratitude and understanding and knowing what's going on with your money.
Yes. Well, and I love what you're saying here because it's true. It's like certainly there is that aspect which unfortunately you had to kind of learn and get aware. from a not fun place, from a very hard place. And I like what you're saying that, okay, so that's, one reason why, yeah, you should be aware because the unthinkable can happen and unfortunately did happen. And there's also other reasons that you should become aware. It can be from a very good place and it should all be done from a place of gratitude. And while you were saying all that, it also made me think that, heck, like there's exciting. Sorry, my power keeps flickering. It's a super windy day today. Anyway, but like, like when it keeps
It's
like,
warmed up here too, yeah.
I know it's like, oh no, we're having a light bulb moment. But what it made me think of is that also an awareness and of your capability as a creator and like being aware of your finances and all that because it comes from a place of doing that from a place of excitement of what
Hmm.
you want to build in life. You
Yeah,
know,
where are we going? And oh, the
where are
amount
we going?
of, and oh,
Right.
what can we achieve? And
What can
right,
we achieve?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah. It's like, what am I capable of? Like, ooh, what if? I mean, that's a very sexy question. It's like, what
right.
can I
What?
do? What could I
Yeah.
build? How sexy and amazing can life actually get here? And, your wealth is just part of that because, a person who has resources simply gets to make other choices. You definitely get to make bigger choices and, not, like money is just a tool and
Mm.
having more of it allows you to do more. And so money's not really good or bad. It's just it's there and it's a wonderful tool that can be used in many ways. And so you want to have that because then it just allows you to do more. Anyway, but those are
I would
some that
say
came up.
more money in the hands of good people, God's people, whatever. It does good things, right? Because money, you're right, money is an inert thing. It's not a good or a bad.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. And what
Right.
you do with it is what makes it, a good or a bad thing, I guess, if you want to say it like that.
Right.
Right. So like it's just resources. It's just a tool. And
Totally.
having more options, more tools and whatnot can free you to, I would say like be able to live out your calling. What are we here for? If you're resourced to be able to figure that out and to carry it out, right?
Mhm.
That's what I'm trying to get to. It's not about like, oh, let me gather up all this money and riches. That's not at all what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, it's about being able to create impact in the world and
Mhm.
carry out your calling and what you're here to do and who you're here to touch and whatnot. And like
Yeah.
that is done through resources, right? So
Mhm.
anyway, I could
It's
go on
so
about
funny. Well, and I love that we're talking about this because I'm like, wow, wow, like, oh, there's so many different things that we can talk about. It's like, and I know we were talking about positioning as well. And so it's like when you discuss your wealth and everything, and like when you become more aware of your finances, well, then you're ready to move them and to hop onto opportunities and to like position, like when different things come to you, and then you can position yourself in such a strong way.
exactly.
Gosh, I don't even, yeah, wow. So, um, anyway, so let's maybe move a little bit more into that. I would love to hear your thoughts on positioning and maybe what you're positioning yourself for. And because we've been
Mhm.
talking a lot about that. I know we talked about that in our last wealth discussion, our last wealth talk, that nowadays it's not so much about the hustle, it's more so about that positioning, being in the right place, making sure you're with, talking to the right people and being aware of the right things. So just like with your wealth and your finances, knowing what's going on, that applies everywhere, right? So goes into this
So
position.
true. Yeah, access and positioning. That's, I think, what this is about nowadays, right? And historically, we didn't necessarily have access, but now we do have access, right? And then that therefore leads to being able to be positioned, which I think comes from education and t like learning where these things are, how these things work and whatnot, right? So teaching yourself, educating yourself, however that is, um, to be able to take advantage of opportunities that come along.
Yeah.
Because there are opportunities all around. There's so much abundance. There's so many opportunities, right? There's no lack of opportunities. Just are they good opportunities or not, right? So I know we talked about like the surfer analogy.
Yeah.
Speaking of positioning, right? Because again, you want to be riding that wave, not getting, you know, taken out by it or missing it completely and then just left as you're watching everybody else sail on by, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, positioning, whew, access, timing is such a key thing, right? And I know that's one of the things that you and I are working on. We have, an amazing opportunity that's come up and that we're so excited and passionate about sharing because it is the perfect time to catch that wave and sail with it. And it's super exciting, which I know we'll talk about more about this, but we're having an info meeting about it tomorrow morning and would love to invite everyone to come and learn, to get curious, right? Educate yourself, get in, like find out. Because again, not every opportunity is right for everybody, and that's completely fine, right? But do you owe it to yourself? Do you owe it to your future? Do you owe it to your children and your children's children, like your generations coming up, to take a look and see? if this might be something right for you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 a.m. tomorrow. So 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, Saturday, December 20th. We're going to be talking about this some more. And it is such an exciting opportunity. And what's cool, I mean, I don't know why, but like one thought while you were talking as well, Hannah, like, and catching this wave and making sure that you're, in the right position. And then also too with the fact that, the universe is unlimited. Like there's so many resources, there's no lack here. Like this is a party wave. Like there's room for any and all who decide to position themselves, and get onto this wave.
It is.
And it's amazing. And so, and kind of going back to that idea that, the universe is limitless, which I love this, and I think, especially in the community we're part of, Hannah, like with all this talk about like just that there is no lack of abundance. Like there's just, it's always expanding. Like, and if you're starting to worry about if there's enough, then maybe you're not asking for enough. Maybe you need to ask for more actually, and then let the miracles roll in because there is so much out there. There's always new things being created and there's new ways of wealth coming into the world. And so this is simply one way that we have found.
Yeah.
And it is pretty darn powerful and it's pretty exciting. It's
Yeah.
very, and it's probably pretty darn different from anything that you've seen before. But again, it's like get curious. Just learn and see what if, what is out there, what is, gosh, like what could it be, how could it work for me or whatever. What do I need to do? So,
How good can it get?
how good
Right?
can it get?
Like, I am open for this or something better. And how good can it get? Like, can we start asking ourselves that question? Because like, we are created for overflow. We are created for abundance. I teach so much about this, and this is such a passion of mine because I know it to be true. And when we start to, what we focus on begins to grow. What we focus on, we begin to find the answers for, right? Like, it's kind of amazing how it works, but like, it actually works, right? And like this opportunity, it's such a like, how good could it get? Like, it's like almost like ooh, like chills up your spine good, right? It's like, oh my goodness, like what can we do? Like, I speaking about positioning, like I have been able to create trust funds for my children, each one of them, right? So that they will be able to, like, I want this to be something that is for generations to come. And it, right, that is the goal. And again, like it's all about timing and access and positioning. And like I'm definitely moving on.
Same. I know. I'm just like, okay, gotta move faster. Gotta move faster. Oh my gosh. I know. I keep getting obsessed. I was just talking to someone about it this morning and I was like, I feel like I like shouted off the rooftops. I'm just like,
No.
so I'm just like, wow.
People to miss like the people like I love like I want I'm always like let's get more resources in the hands of amazing women and men who are doing amazing things because I see all these I get to hear all these amazing like visions and story and like ideas and things that people have, and yet what's holding them back often is
Mhm.
is a lack of resources.
Yeah.
Many different ways. Is it because they like because they need to be able to make sure they're taking care of home before they jump into this new project? Like there's so many reasons, but it's all a lot of time it boils down to
Yeah.
the resources. So like if we can resource ourselves fully, abundantly, so that we can then like go forth and like be so free and so like limitless and like I want to say attacking our calling, but not attacking, but like diving into it wholeheartedly. Yeah, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
Without reservation, being able to do the things that you want to do without reservation and never having to say, well, I would love to, but I can't afford that.
Or
I would
that,
love to, but I gotta go do this job over here. Well, I'd
right?
love to, but XYZ, whatever, because of finances. And so it's, something that just excites me. It's like, oh my gosh, like build yourself such a powerful financial structure so that it runs in the background that your money, like I love, okay, so Alex, this guy that we,
Okay. Yeah.
the little bow tie thing, like when he said, I want to put a bow tie on my money and send its ass to
That's
work.
the word.
I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
send it to work, And so I'm like, yes, build yourself some, resources so that then
Yes.
you can wholeheartedly get out there and live the life that you want to.
Yeah.
So that, you can go and have fun with your family, go hit the slopes, it's snowboarding season, guys. Sorry, anyway. I'm just like so excited, so that you can go and take care of your family the way that you want to take care of your family. Go, eat the food that you want to eat, whatever, just like, but help people the way.
Generous where you want to be generous. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
things, right?
Yeah.
And that's another avenue that I like had definitely started this for is to be able to resource like the
Yes.
I'd say the scholarship side of my work, my business, because I want to be able to offer the things that I get to share and teach for high tickets
Hmm.
at a discounted price for those who cannot afford it but need
Right.
that work. So how do I get to do that? Because I also have to be resourced and pay my bills, right? So how do I do that? And this
Yeah,
is the way I get to fund that. Like I'm so excited about the opportunities that are coming up with this.
it
Um,
is.
yeah, and
Well,
how good can it get?
how good can it get? And what's so cool is how accessible it really is. And yeah, like it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
I think any and all really can get involved in because, and people are getting involved all around the world on this one. And so it is a freaking huge tidal wave of a party wave. So I'm just saying, you guys.
Not That's right. It's
Right.
really exciting. So
It
yeah,
is.
so do your guys, do yourself a favor, get curious. Come listen.
Yeah.
Is it your future worth you taking 30, 40 minutes to listen in and like really pay attention and get curious and see if this is something that might be right for you, for your family, for your future.
Yeah, we are going to have some exciting goodings for you on this call, and we actually are talking with someone who uh, actually got to meet with the CEO of this project last week over in Germany, and it was pretty special. So Anna Marie's going to be with us as well on this conversation, and so yeah, but we'll be having an epic conversation tomorrow, and so please get curious and join us.
Awesome. Megan, this has been a beautiful chat. I'm so happy that we've done it, and let's keep these conversations going.
Hmm.
There's a lot to talk about and so many things to bring to the table, and yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to keep this going.
Me too. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.